good to see all of you. My name is Sanjeev Anand. I'm the chairman of IBS Intelligence. I'm very happy to have you all here today. This was organized kind of short notice, and therefore there's great appreciation for the participants to the Innovation Awards that we are doing for the first time, to have made the effort of not only submitting a submission for the awards, but also obviously being present here today. So thank you very much. A lot of thanks to my guests who are here. Thanks to Vishal, who's going to be properly introduced in a bit. He's more here as a friend of mine, but he's a private equity guy who wrote a big check day before yesterday. Also want to thank Madhavan, who's a friend, who's on our board, but also chairman and MD of Thomas Cook. And so we have many friends with us tonight. What we thought is we'd do this a little different than what a normal awards event is, right? Where there are lots of awards and it's pretty much corporate. And I thought we should mix it up a little bit, have a little bit of entertainment, make it worth your time. Obviously, we want to celebrate the award winners and obviously provide all of you an opportunity to network, right? And I hope some of that has happened before this session has started. I want to thank people who've flown in, especially for this. I can see some of the participants from Kuwait, from ABK, thank you. And there are a few others who've come in from India and across outside India. But again, good to see all of you. What we're going to do is as per the schedule, and hopefully everybody got an invite. But in the invite, I thought, let's do this different. But before we go to the entertainment part of the evening, we put together what we think is a really neat 2-minute video. So with this cue, may I, back in the US when I moved there in the mid-80s, there used to be a guy who used to say, let's roll the videotape. We're going to say, let's roll the videotape and let's just watch this for 2 minutes. We'll come back on. Thank you.
Welcome to the FinTech revolution. 25,000 banks globally are joining the party. Millions of customers are part of this community. Welcome to the FinTech revolution. $270 billion are being spent every year, growing at 5% annually in this sphere. Welcome to the FinTech revolution. 20,000 FinTechs make magic happen every day, and 10 join daily to make a play. Welcome to the FinTech revolution. $240 million get invested every day, with another $120 billion underway. Say hello to IBS Intelligence, an independent perspective on banking technology. 28 years of global news, research, and advisory delivery. Say hello to IBS Intelligence. 350 suppliers profiled. 35 reports covering all major banking system types compiled. Say hello to IBS Intelligence. 9 out of the top 10 banks trusted. 8 out of the top 10 suppliers live by it. Say hello to IBS Intelligence. 11,000 bank system deals in its vision. Reuters, CapIQ, and Bloomberg, all part of its prism. So, tonight is the night of cool tech. For the suppliers who made it to the top, and the banks who helped them look sharp, tonight is the night of cool tech. For 22 suppliers from 15 countries, winners from 122 entries. Tonight is the night of cool tech. Blue is the color of innovation, and tonight is the occasion. Welcome to the greatest cool tech party on earth. Welcome to the first IBSI Global FinTech Innovation Awards 2019.
Okay, I have great pleasure in introducing Anubhav Pal. Times of India lists him amongst the top 5 English comedians, and his stand-up performances of Empire is part of the permanent collection at the Victoria and Albert Museum. So please welcome on stage Anubhav Pal.
Hello, welcome to the FinTech Awards. Thank you for having me. Any of you do yoga? I went to a yoga studio in Bandra where I live. My teacher was a British lady. We outsourced it to them, they outsourced it back. And the class was filled with fat husbands, one more horrifying than the next. It was this morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. It said, open your inner chakras. Next to me, there was a Punjabi man. He said, don't open anything. We're sitting there, all of us fat as hell. Someone's looking at me going, oh my God. We're standing there wallowing in our middle age and our EMIs and our hopeless life. And this lady walks in. She's 6'2" tall. She's taller than the whole subcontinent. She says, none of you husbands are fat. All your wives are body shaming you. We're like, carry on, madam, carry on. One Sindhi guy next to me is saying, for 2,000 rupees a class, she'll say anything. Punjabi guy says, 2,000 plus GST. One guy says, I'm paying only 500. One guy says, madam, then what are we? She says, you beautiful husbands, you are oysters in the Indian Ocean. And what you have is not a belly. We said, no. He said, no. It is a covering to hide the pearl inside you, you beautiful oyster. I said, this is how they conquered India. You've been fantastic. Have a lovely award show. Thank you.
My name is Robin Amler. I'm the managing editor of our magazine, the IBS Journal. And you're stuck with me for the rest of the evening. Just to remind you of what this is, it is the first Global FinTech Innovation Awards from IBS Intelligence. And I want to begin this evening by inviting on stage our keynote speaker from private equity house Warburg Pincus, Vishal Mahadevia, the managing director and India head.
Thanks, Robin, and thanks, Sanjeev, for inviting me to be here. It's a pleasure to be here at the IBS Intelligence FinTech Innovation Awards. But really, Sanjeev, when you set up the schedule, you had to put me after Anubhav. Seriously? I mean, that's an easy act to follow, sure. Look, to be honest, when Sanjeev first called me about this, I was hesitant, thinking, what am I going to say to this group? Over these past few months, it's been very easy to get bogged down by all the stories of economic doom and gloom that surround us. I'm certainly guilty of it. It's hard not to get affected at times when every passing week seems to pile on more depressing headlines. But in spite of everything that's going on around us, it's truly invigorating to see that the fintech space hasn't missed a beat. As Sanjeev mentioned, as Robin mentioned, I head the investing activity of Warburg Pincus in India. I sit on our global executive management group. We've been investing in India for almost 25 years now, and we're one of the first global private equity funds to come and start investing in the country. Financial services and technology in particular have been key areas of investment for us. We've made investments across the spectrum of financial services: banks, NBFCs, insurance companies, mutual funds. Furthermore, as active tech investors, both globally as well as in India, we're extremely excited about the fintech opportunities that stand in front of us. I'll talk a little bit more about that, but I'd like to digress for just a few minutes and set the stage for the rest of my talk, and my strong belief that the next few years will provide what I think will be the most attractive investing environment that we've seen in the past 2 decades of investing in India. That doesn't mean we should kid ourselves. The growth slowdown here is real and will take some time to reverse itself. Everyone knows about this, but quickly, there are a few reasons for this. Firstly, over the past 3 years, the government has initiated a series of reforms, probably the most path-breaking we've seen since liberalization back in 1991. Combination of DMON, GST, creation of UPI, and finally, creation of the bankruptcy code to put the power back in the hands of Indian banks. Just a few of the reforms that have taken place over the past few years. And while each of these initiatives have the potential to really change the trajectory of India's long-term growth profile, it is painful in the short term, as implementation hasn't been smooth. And honestly, companies have had to adjust to the way that they conduct business. Secondly, there's a reluctance by banks to lend to big businesses, driven by corporate governance issue and some high-profile bankruptcies. Credit growth to businesses will be negative this year, was 7% last year and double-digit rates just a few years ago. This has led to a lack of liquidity in the system and difficulty in transmitting rate cuts, both of which exacerbate the growth slowdown. And lastly, Indian founders, who've typically used high levels of leverage to build their business versus diluting equity ownership, are worried about debt levels, losing their businesses in a bankruptcy process, and honestly focused on raising equity, selling non-core assets to pay down debt versus investing in growth. All of these have a chilling effect on growth in the country. However, during all of this, the spirit of entrepreneurship in India hasn't gone away. While companies and business groups that historically built businesses based on privileged access to both political capital as well as bank debt struggle, a new generation of entrepreneurs has emerged that is taking advantage of a more level playing field and disruptions being caused by both technology as well as some of the reforms that I talked about earlier. It's not just India. Each market has its own unique context and path of evolution, and some of these themes are playing out around the world. So needless to say, we're excited about the potential of FinTech in India, and I think it's important to note this is across both B2C, which gets most of the press headlines, but equally importantly, and maybe more importantly, B2B solutions that enable better digitization of the financial services industry. As we look at opportunities ahead of us, we think the next 3 to 5 years are going to witness rapid innovation in a few areas, including the continued evolution of the payments experience on the back of UPI and more value-added products, transformation of the consumer lending market through investments in data science and analytics, and lastly, tech-enabled distribution of savings products like wealth management and insurance. These are just few of the trends that we're excited about we're seeing. Each of these in themselves can spawn a really interesting number of businesses and opportunities for folks around this room. And we could take up the entire evening, frankly, exploring them. I'm sensitive to not taking up too much more time. So let me just end by saying that I truly envy each and every one of you for the exciting opportunity you have in front of you in this transformational FinTech world here in India and around the globe. With that, I'll say thank you.
Thank you, Vishal. The awards tonight are being announced across 2 overall classes. We have Best FinTech Implementation with 5 categories and Best Cool Tech Innovation with 8 categories. Our winners have been selected, as you know, from over 120 plus participants from more than 24 countries. We begin with Best Digital Channels Implementation. Winner, Infosys Finacle and Standard Bank. Infosys Finacle has won this award for the transformation of the digital channels at Standard Bank, the largest African banking group by asset with presence in over 20 countries. Branded the solution as Mobi Branch Banker, or simply Mobi. Best Lending Implementation. Our winner, Nucleus Software and Roha Housing Finance. Software is a lending and transaction banking specialist with more than 150 customers across 50 countries. Roha Housing Finance started operations in 2017 and is a vertical of the JJT Group based here in Mumbai. The project was executed in 4 months and it helped Roha grow its business from $140,000 a month to $3.7 million a month. Our next category is the most innovative API open banking model. Our winner, Zoho Bank Biz and ICICI Bank. Indian software development group Zoho with web-based business tools. Zoho and ICICI pioneered a first-of-its-kind integration where the online worlds of business finance and banking merge into one simplified platform. You take over, Madhavan Menon, and we'll continue with the most innovative compliance and RegTech implementation. And our winner, Wolters Kluwer. Wolters Kluwer has customers in over 150 countries and operations in more than 40. It's based in the Netherlands and is a global leader in the provision of integrated regulatory compliance and reporting solutions. This particular award goes to its OneSumX suite, which provides regulatory reporting to a variety of clients. And just to give you a couple of examples, Bank of China, MUFG, Bank of Beirut, amongst many others. Most innovative digital lending implementation. Our winner, Nalito Systems and Wheels EMI. Systems solutions are deployed in more than 6,000 sites in 110 banks. This project implemented a digital integrated lending management solution at Wheels EMI, a non-bank financial company here in India. It has more than 50,000 customers across the country and has successfully disbursed loans of more than 200 crore rupee. Wheels EMI operates in 14 major cities and I believe has plans to expand to 125 in the next 3 years. This was a first-of-its-kind implementation for Nalito and delivered a highly customized automated solution for Wheels EMI. It's resulted in optimizing the entire loan application process to be completed in around 30 minutes. Before I get off stage, my last duty is, if I may, to invite you, Mr. Madhavan Menon, to offer his vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's truly an honor to be here this evening giving away awards. And primarily, the first thought that ran through my mind when Sanjeev asked me to do this was to say that, technologically challenged people like me need people like all of you to break things down and make life a little easier. So thank you again. I want to congratulate all the winners. I want to congratulate IBS, Sanjeev, Jim, and Vishal, thanks for doing the hard work this evening. You did the heavy lifting. I'm doing the light lifting. Thank you very much, and thank you again.
Just on behalf of the full IBS intelligence team that has worked on putting this together, I want to thank the team for have done this over the last few months. Again, I appreciate everybody coming in here, our guests, as well as the winners. Thank you. We've been looking at the banking and banking technology industry for almost 30 years. And as you know, in your own daily life, the way you interact with the bank has changed quite significantly with the apps on your phone, right? So what's been happening is that around the world, just as there was an industrial revolution in the 1920s, I actually believe that the next revolution that has come is really the banking technology or the FinTech revolution. India historically has been very strong in IT and technology and banking technology. So, our estimate is there are almost 4,000 FinTechs to 5,000 FinTechs operating in India. The big guys generally get recognized. It's the smaller firms that are not seen yet. And we are hoping that in the next few years, they'll start to grow, they get some more private equity money, and they'll transform the way you and I do banking. So I think innovation has to be part of any business model, right? Whether you're a consulting firm, whether you're a consumer product company, whether you're a shoe brand, right? You need to have new styles, for example. So I think being innovative is absolutely critical for the success of any business, right? We rank suppliers twice a year. We do a ranking in London in the April and May timeframe, and we've done it for 20 years. And it's called the annual Sales League Table. This was the first time we were attempting to do it with relatively smaller firms. Of course, there was Infosys in here, as you can see, and they're in many spheres right now. I mean, private equity funds are continuing to invest in large numbers, right? So we only expect that it's going to get more competitive next year. We had 122 submissions. I think it will go to 300. So I think it's going to get to a point where it's going to get institutionalized. Almost all personal banking, for sure, whether you're sitting in India and it's a bank in New York or it's a bank in India, is happening over the phone, right? So I think it's just become, instantaneous. It's now, it's digital. I think the future of FinTech is really, it's going to be a marketplace.
The last few months have been tough. The doom and gloom is all around us. But FinTech, it's just invigorating to see that it hasn't missed a beat. The innovation, the companies that are coming up, the solutions, the products, just talking to the group around the room here at this awards ceremony gives you a shot of adrenaline. So I think FinTech is one of those areas that not only is booming, but clearly has a long runway for growth, both in India as well as globally. You have to start with the product first and the solution first and the innovation, because the market's changing so fast. If the management team doesn't have that innovation bug, you're not going to be there 5 years from today. What we're talking about with FinTech is an ecosystem. Just look at some of the infrastructure and the reforms in place, whether it's UPI, whether it's Aadhaar, whether it's GST, the democratization of data. Okay, and the infrastructure, public infrastructure layers that have been put in space. What you want is innovation and an ecosystem from multiple people that are all catering to different needs. Some may be data analytics, some may be front-end customer experience, and an event like this gets everyone together. I think is something fantastic, and credit to IBS Intelligence for pulling something like this together. I'm a big FinTech user amongst my age group, and I know I don't look old, but I see my kids. And I think they will outshine me in terms of their use of technology and apps. But on a very serious note, I mean, FinTech has improved productivity at work. It's improved productivity in personal life. It's made it just easy. And I think ease of experience is what all customers want today.
A platform like IBS is able to cut across the clutter and bring it back into, bring things back into focus where it matters, for our customers, for people like us and the entire ecosystem. So it's about getting that razor sharp focus in that ecosystem, which itself is full of clutter. From our perspective, we are thrilled, fantastic. We feel very elated. It is a recognition by a leading expert, who is in turn seeing the global trends and being recognized by them that, hey, you guys are doing great. So it's you feel top of the world. You also feel that all the hard work that we have put in is actually paying, and more importantly, what we have done for our customers is standing out. FinTech actually gives this 10x power to whatever we do. Technology know-how, people power, banks, super banks, and everything put together. It's like it's a lab where you are bounded by just your ability to imagine. One of the things that I use very often is basically the UPI and the Beam app, which allows me to connect and pay to everybody in the system, and it's just your mobile number. So that's one app that I really like.
Primarily, there are two pillars on which progress of this industry normally rests. One is the agility of the business to stay relevant to the customer, and the other is technology that enables that to happen. Without the one, the other is almost useless. So that's where the technology matters. So the business envisions where it has to go next, and the technology powers that vision such that the business can realize that. If you look at banking, banking is really at the heart of any economic progress. And IBS Global FinTech Innovation Awards, they actually recognize technology that helps banking move forward as an industry. One very clear direction that emerges is use of data and use of analytics to make sure that decision-making, pattern recognition, and trend recognition is happening faster. And the other is to be able to reduce human intervention and making the whole experience of banking frictionless. India is already at the forefront of harnessing the engine of FinTech. India is encouraging FinTechs to collaborate more with banks. India is encouraging FinTechs to work within the regulatory sandbox. RBI came up with a regulatory sandbox very recently. Organizations like IBS, they really help by creating a more conducive atmosphere and a platform for FinTechs to come and participate in mainstream banking conversations. In the personal realm, I use several wealth management platforms that give me a complete 360-degree view of, what's my balance sheet as a person, what's my balance sheet as a family, and that takes away a lot of the other distraction that I would normally have at my level in the organization.